Imagine a creature so bizarre, so alien in appearance and behavior, that even seasoned marine biologists hesitate when describing it. A creature that lurks beneath the mud, waiting in silence. Its flesh is almost transparent, pulsing with bright red veins. At the front of its body is a nightmarish mouth, a tubular jaw that can shoot out like a dart, armed with 4 razor-sharp fangs made of metal. And these fangs? They're not just for show. They deliver venom, potent, paralyzing venom capable of stopping small prey in its tracks. This creature is not from a distant galaxy. It lives right here on Earth. Meet the bloodworm, one of the strangest, deadliest, and most fascinating invertebrates in the marine world. Bloodworms aren't just worms. They're apex ambush predators in their environment. They possess weapons and adaptations that are virtually unheard of in creatures their size. In fact, their biological features are so extraordinary that scientists are still unraveling how they evolved. In this video, we're diving deep, both figuratively and literally, into the world of bloodworms. We'll explore their anatomy, behavior, venom, evolutionary history, and the surreal truth about why people actually keep them as pets. Prepare yourself. Nature just got weirder. So, what exactly is a bloodworm? The term bloodworm actually refers to a few different species, but the one we're talking about today is from the genus Glycera. These are polychaete annelids, which means they belong to the same broad family as earthworms, but they're marine-based and far more advanced in structure. The most common species is Glycera dibranchiata, found in muddy ocean floors and tidal flats along the Atlantic coast of North America. Though they look simple, their biology is anything but. Bloodworms can grow to an impressive size, anywhere from 10 to 35 centimeters long, though some reports show rare individuals reaching over half a meter. Their bodies are segmented, flexible, and appear almost translucent. Through their skin, you can often see their circulatory system in action, pumping oxygen-rich blood through their narrow bodies. And here lies their first superpower: their blood contains an unusually high concentration of hemoglobin, yes, the same molecule found in our blood. This adaptation allows bloodworms to extract oxygen from environments with almost no breathable oxygen, like deep mud and low-tide sludge. Where other animals would suffocate, bloodworms thrive. This alone is an incredible adaptation. Think about it: in a hostile, oxygen-deprived world of decaying organic matter and toxic buildup, the bloodworm doesn't just survive, it dominates. But nature didn't stop there. Evolution equipped the bloodworm with something else, something that has left scientists stunned. At the front of its body lies a proboscis, a specialized mouth part that it can rapidly eject forward like a harpoon. This proboscis ends in 4 fang-like jaws, which it uses to pierce, grasp, and inject venom into its prey. But these jaws are not made of keratin like human nails, nor of calcium like teeth. They're made of protein fused with copper and actual biometal structure, giving them strength and conductivity. Only a handful of creatures in the natural world have learned how to build weapons out of metal. The bloodworm is one of them. If evolution were a blacksmith, then bloodworms are its masterpiece of bioengineering. At first glance, this creature might appear to be just a soft-bodied worm slithering through the mud, but it is armed with one of the most sophisticated biological weapons in the invertebrate world. Let's take a closer look at how this terrifying mechanism works. The bloodworm's primary weapon is its retractable proboscis, a long, muscular tube that it can rapidly shoot out from its head, like a jack-in-the-box of death. At the tip of this proboscis are 4 fang-like jaws, perfectly shaped to pierce, grab, and inject venom into prey. But what sets these jaws apart from nearly every other predator in nature is what they're made of: a composite of protein and copper. Yes, you heard that right, copper, the same metal found in wires and coins. Scientists were astonished when they discovered that bloodworms somehow integrate this metal into their biological tissues. In fact, their jaws are among the only known animal structures to be reinforced by metal nanoparticles, which give them extreme strength, durability, and even conductivity. These jaws don't just bite, they pierce with surgical precision. But how do they form these metal jaws? Bloodworms absorb copper from the environment through their diet and water, then use a special copper-binding protein to construct their jaws over time. This process is guided by histidine-rich proteins, which chemically interact with the copper ions to create a hard, mineral-like structure. This is biomineralization, nature's way of making tools, and the bloodworm is an absolute master of it. Now, let's talk about venom. Each jaw isn't just a stabbing tool, it's also a venom injector. When the bloodworm strikes, venom flows down tiny grooves in its fangs and is delivered directly into the victim. This venom is a neurotoxin, targeting the nervous system of small prey like crustaceans, larvae, and tiny fish. The effect is swift and devastating. Muscles seize up, breathing halts, and the prey becomes completely immobilized. Interestingly, scientists have only recently begun to study this venom in detail. Some components appear similar to those found in spider or centipede venom, even though these animals are evolutionarily distant. This suggests something remarkable: convergent evolution, where different species, isolated from one another, evolve similar traits because they offer a survival advantage. Bloodworms and spiders may be very different animals, but they've both developed venom delivery systems that are eerily effective. This leads to a deeper question: why would a worm need such high-level weaponry? The answer lies in their environment. Bloodworms live in highly competitive, oxygen-poor habitats, mudflats, estuaries, and seabeds, where food is scarce, and predators lurk everywhere. In such a ruthless ecosystem, it's not enough to be a scavenger. To survive and thrive, bloodworms became ambush predators, capable of taking down prey quickly and consuming it before anyone else gets a whiff. With their copper-reinforced jaws, powerful venom, and lightning-fast strike, bloodworms are perfectly designed for this role. They're like tiny biological weapons, efficient, precise, and utterly terrifying. To truly appreciate the bloodworm, we must leave behind the open ocean and dive into the muddy, oxygen-starved world it calls home. Bloodworms don't swim through bright coral reefs or hunt in sunlit waters. They thrive in estuaries, tidal flats, and the dark, silty beds of coastal seas, places most creatures avoid. These environments are filled with decaying organic matter, fluctuating salinity, low oxygen, and often high levels of pollution. Yet, for the bloodworm, it's paradise. Why? Because evolution has crafted it into a master of adaptation. At the heart of its survival strategy lies its ability to extract and store oxygen in the harshest of conditions. Unlike many marine animals that depend on gills or constant water flow, bloodworms rely on their richly hemoglobinated blood. The hemoglobin inside them binds to oxygen so efficiently that even in near-anoxic mud, they can extract what little oxygen is available and survive comfortably. Their skin is also semi-permeable, allowing them to absorb gases directly from their environment. This feature, coupled with a low metabolic rate, lets them endure long periods of stress and survive where others perish. Their body structure also plays a role. Bloodworms can burrow into the mud using wave-like muscular contractions. Once they've established a burrow, they create a system of tunnels where they hide, ambush prey, and avoid predators. These burrows offer shelter not just from hunters, but also from environmental instability such as tidal changes or sudden shifts in salinity. Even their behavior reflects this strategic approach. Bloodworms rarely expose their full bodies unless absolutely necessary, relying instead on their extendable proboscis to do the hunting from the safety of their tunnels. Moreover, they aren't just passive survivors, they are essential players in their ecosystem. Bloodworms help break down organic matter in the mud, recycling nutrients and keeping the sediment oxygenated through their burrowing. In this sense, they're both predators and ecological engineers, maintaining the balance of the very environment they live in. Scientists have also discovered that bloodworms can tolerate surprisingly high levels of pollution, including heavy metals and waste runoff. This makes them indicators of environmental health. Where bloodworms thrive, the ecosystem is usually under stress. And yet, they persist, carrying on the story of survival that stretches back hundreds of millions of years.